computer? Yes. Okay, now I'm recording. So let me get back to my desktop. Okay, so this is how After Effects starts. Okay, so you can do a new composition here. And composition is a timeline. But the first thing I want to do is I'm going to close out of this beginning stuff right here. Um, and I'm going to do a save project as. What I don't want to show is I don't want you guys working in untitles. I want you guys to be organized. Okay. So I'm going to do a file, save as. I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to say a new folder. I'm going to call this DME Spring 21. I'm going to create. And then I'm going to do another new folder. I'm going to say night one. And I'm going to get really organized. I'm going to say March 17th. Hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. I didn't wear any green today. And I didn't get any corned beef and cabbage, and I didn't have a beer. What a depressing day.
Yeah, me neither.
And a beer would be really good. Nice green beer would be good right now.
I mean, it's not too late.
Yeah, with COVID, I don't think I want to go hit the local pub either when I'm done. Well, I guess I got a Coors Light in my fridge I can drink when I'm done with class. Okay, so I'm going to call this AE introduction. And I'm going to say save. Okay. And I want to do a new composition. I can hit a new composition here, or I can go to composition, new composition. And one thing you got to keep in mind, there are 3 ways to do everything in most of these softwares. And here's the other thing is, I might do something slow or a different way than you've learned. You know, I could learn off you guys in this class, okay? Because again, there's different ways to do stuff. So I'm going to say new composition. And remember, the composition is timeline. And I'm going to say AE intro to start. I'm going to keep my composition in high definition. I'm going to keep it at 30 frames a second, or as this would be considered drop frame. So since it doesn't say 30, it says 2997. That is a drop frame time code. Okay. I want you guys to know what you're working in. If you're working in 4K, if you're working in HD, I want you to know what frame rates you're at. Codecs, you know, we can work in After Effects in a certain codec and still export it into another format. So, but I want you guys to be aware of what you're working in. The other important thing here, if I wanted to go with a different color background, I could do a different color background if I want to. Okay, the other important part here is duration. Okay, if I open up a 20-second duration and I want to make my composition longer, I have to come back into here and fix it. So I just said 10 seconds right now. So I'm gonna say, okay. So now if I go up here to my project, hey, there is my composition. Okay, that's what it looks like. And that's this timeline. Okay. If I want to change the length of that, if I decide, oh crap, I need that to be 15 seconds instead of 10, all I got to do is go to composition, composition settings, and change that. So I'm going to change it to 15 real quick. So now I got a 15-second or frame composition. Okay. So any questions so far? Easy so far. So how many people have done animation in Premiere Pro or After Effects?
I have.
Okay. So I think anybody, I know Lily probably had to have said she took motion graphics. And again, we can do some of these same techniques in Premiere Pro. So I'm going to start out with simple keyframe animation. And once you understand this concept, life is easy because that's all we're doing is we're keyframing things and we're changing things in time. Okay. So I'm going to start with a text layer. Okay. So I'm going to go up to my text tool right here. And I'm going to just click in my composition and I'm going to type in Happy St. Patrick's Day. Okay. And I'm going to grab my select tool up here to kind of put it back in the frame. Okay. If I want to align something perfect, I also have this align, these tools over here. So I'm going to go to align and I'm going to center this on the page. Okay. And I can also, I got to move something out of the way. I want to change it to green because, yeah, who has a grayish blue St. Patrick's Day? We want to get a nice color in there. So I'm going to grab my text tool. I'm going to grab the text and I'm going to change it to a nice fluorescent green. Oh, that gets me into the holiday. Should I do it? Yeah. Should I put Saint instead of? Does that work better?
Most people spell it with an ST, just ST anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
So I'm going to actually do something like this. I'm going to go back to my align. I'm going to center it. Okay, that I'm happier now. Okay. So this is where I'm going to do my animation. Dylan, where do you want me to, where it to come from? You want it to come from the left, right, top, or bottom?
Let's just go simple and go like top.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, see, I have that St. Patrick's Day layer down here. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to open up transform. Okay. And I can change the position. So if I take it from top to bottom, that would be position. Okay. I can scale it, I can rotate it, and I can do opacity to it. But I'm going to start with a position. Okay. Since this is already centered, I'm going to go backwards. Okay. So I'm going to have this drop from the top. I'm going to have it take a second and a half. So I'm going to go to 115, 115. I click right there, hit return. I'm at 115. Perfect. And I'm going to, these stopwatches are for turning keyframing on or off. Okay. So I'm going to click on position and notice right there, I have a keyframe. And then I'm going to move this over. So if I have the stopwatch clicked and keyframing enabled, anything I change that has that keyframing on will put a new keyframe if you change time. So by me just moving this off the screen, I have two keyframes now. I have A and B. So the computer does the math for you. Okay. So if I hit play, it goes from the first keyframe to the second keyframe in time. If I thought that was too slow, I could just move this over and make it faster. Or if I think it's too fast, I can move over and, so I control the speed, and that's called interpolation between those areas. Okay. So I always joke around about this time in class. I say, okay, we're done with class. You have everything you need to know in After Effects to be able to do animation. Okay. You have the basics now. Okay. if I want this to then leave screen, so I want it up on screen for a second, then I want it to sit there for 2 seconds. So at 3 seconds, then I want it to leave at 3 seconds. Okay. I have to create a pause there because remember, the computer is going to go from point A to point B to point C. So if I just drag this off now, there's no pause. It's just going to keep going and change speeds. So I don't want to do that. So one thing in After Effects you're going to do a ton is your undo. Who can tell me the undo key?
Isn't it Control Z?
On a PC, it's Control, it's Command Z. On a Mac, and it is your friend. You will undo a ton when you're working in this program. Okay, to put a pause in, I need the next keyframe to be the same as the other one. So if I Command C to copy that, Command V and paste it, now I have a pause built in. Okay, another way to do that. See this little thing right over here with the arrow and the keyframe here? If I click this, it makes the same keyframe as the one before it. So now that's matched. Then if I move this over a second and just drop this down, so now I have my first little animation. Flies in, pauses, flies off. Okay. Easy enough. And this is complicated when you first start. Okay. When you get used to this, it gets easy and it gets easier and easier as you go. And you know what? Could I do the same thing in Premiere Pro?
I think you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I can do the exact same thing, what I just did there in Premiere Pro. Okay, and I'll show you guys how to do that. I usually teach people how to do it in Moving Image Lab, but not everybody chooses to use them in their assignments. Okay, I can do this in Final Cut. I can do this in DaVinci Resolve. I can do it in Motion. I can do it in, all these programs have this stuff built in. I personally like so if I was doing something easy like this, I probably wouldn't go to After Effects with it. But we have to start out somewhere to learn, right? Okay, so we're gonna, I think as that's dropping out, I'm gonna do another one. So to add another layer, okay, I'm gonna go to another way to get a text layer. So I'm gonna go Layer, New, Text. And then I'm going to type in March 17th, 2021. Okay. So I'm going to do the same thing. And I want it to start coming in from the top. Actually, I'm going to move it from the left, bring it in, and then slide it down. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to grab my select tool. I'm going to grab it off the frame. I want it to start over here. Okay. And so I have to close. I don't have to close this one. I'm going to open the next one. I'm going to go to transform. I'm going to go to position. Okay. There's my keyframe. So as that slides off, I want the other one to slide in. And I'm going to go fairly fast on this one. So I'm going to slide it in. And to be safe, I'm going to go to my align and I'm going to put it right there. And then by the time the other one goes out, I want it to be centered. Or I'm going to let it go a little bit longer. So I'm just going to center it on the page. Ooh, okay. I can fix that. Okay. I don't like that they automatically put a Bezier curve in there. So watch this is what I mean by a Bezier curve. So I don't want that curve in there. So I'm actually going to undo it. And what I'm going to do is put a short pause, a really short pause. And then I'm going to come in here and then I'm going to bring it down. Okay. So now it's going to do what I want it to do. And I actually don't want it to slide in that fast. So I'm going to get a better feel for it. Okay. And I'm going to cheat it a little bit more. And I just want to get, and then I'm going to slide it. I'm going to pause it again. And then I'm going to slide it off the page. Now I have a kind of where I want it to go. Okay. Another way to get rid of that Bezier curve, I'm going to delete, if you don't want a keyframe, I'm going to delete it, but put that curve right back in. So what I want to do is I can right click on a keyframe. So if I go control click and I go to keyframe assistant, or I'm going to go keyframe interpolation, and I'm going to turn off my audio. I'm going to go linear on that, and I'm going to say okay. And it takes out that auto Bezier curve. Okay. And that starts getting a little more complex. Okay, so I'm going to pause real quick and ask you guys, does that make sense? Did that look really confusing to some of my beginners?
I think I mostly get it.
Say that again, Grace, you kind of broke up on me.
I think I mostly get it.
Okay, and that's why I record this lecture, because if you aren't doing this with me, you're not going to remember everything I did. And here's the last thing I would tell you to do is, I would find if I was going back to do this and watching this lecture, I would fast forward to the part where, I wouldn't listen to me talk this whole time. Okay. Use it as a reference. Okay. Is anybody doing this with me as we're going?
I tried to, but then I just kind of watched you do it.
Okay. Well, am I going too fast, or because if you guys are going to go back when you're doing your assignments and stuff to try figuring out stuff, you don't want the lectures to be too long. Okay.
It was a little fast, but I was just gonna rewatch it. And then
okay. And if you're going along with me, have me pause a little bit and say, hey, how'd you do that? Or if there's something you don't understand, do the same thing. Okay. And again, this class builds on each other. So with what I showed you already, you kind of have the basics. Okay. How many people have their After Effects open? Joe, are you following along, or are you just listening?
I'm just listening right now.
Okay. Seth, you don't have it on yours yet, right?
Right.
And Aubriana, do you have it?
Yeah, I have it. I have the Adobe Suite.
Okay. Are you just listening, or you've kind of following along for now?
I'm just listening.
Okay, good. And Dylan, you're just listening because you don't have it yet. Austin.
Yeah, I'm just listening. I don't have it downloaded.
Okay. And next Wednesday, the first part will be review too. So if you guys start working on your first assignment and you're totally lost, I want you guys to come back with questions. Okay. The last thing I want you guys to do is get behind. And I'll always have time to catch you guys back up because, some people, this is just natural. And some people, I've had people that just really struggle with the After Effects concept and stuff over the years. And I don't expect you to be an expert when you're done here. I expect you to kind of know that there's a tool in the toolbox to use. Okay. Grace, and you're just listening, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Lily.
I'm just listening. I have it installed on my other computer.
Okay, good. And Andrew.
Just listening for now, but
Okay, so I'll move pretty good then, since that way, if you guys have to go back to it, you can just kind of skip through stuff. So, okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. And so with knowing this knowledge we have already, we can keep building on. So I'm going to add another text layer, and I'm going to go text. And if we want to clean this up also to make it easier on your project, so I can clean this up also by, I'm going to do this because since the date doesn't come into till that keyframe, why, I'm going to make it easier for me to know where my project's at and where things are at timing wise. And so then on this bottom one, I'm going to come to this layer, and that one's off by there. So I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of cleaning up of my project. Okay. Another way to move around your project to get more exact, I showed this to copy a keyframe or add a keyframe. You can use this to actually get keyframe to keyframe to move around. You see that? It's a great little tool. And so now I can just come over here. I'm going to clean up my project a little bit more. And I'm going to go add my next layer in. So I'm going to, just to stay consistent, I'm going to bring another layer in. This time I'm going to go from the, I'm not sure how I want to do this yet. I know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add a text layer. I'm going to say Bob Moss. And if I want to change fonts, I'm going to change fonts. I'm going to just click in here. I'm going to use my up and down arrow and find something I like. Oh, that's obnoxious as could be. We're going to use that one. Unless that one's better. No, I like the other one better because it's obnoxious. And I'm kind of a blue person today. I kind of like the color blue. I'm going to go a little bit lighter. Let's get a little, actually I want it to be a darker blue. Okay. If I want to change my font size, I can change my font size. And I'm going to kind of, I want it to come to about here. So I'm going to open it up, and we've done position so far. So with this one, I'm going to do a scale, rotation, and opacity all in one. I'm going to get a little obnoxious on this. So I think about when that one starts moving down, I want to, and I'm going to change my anchor point I'm not going to change my anchor. Yeah, I'm going to change my anchor point. See this right here? That is an anchor point. So if you do rotations, that's where it's going to rotate from. So if I come here, you can see where it's going to rotate from. So I actually want to move that up a little bit. And see these blue down here? If you click and drag, you can move and change